Okay, by demand. I'm running out of teams too, right? How good is it? Columbus Blue Jackets. And Columbus is one of those teams, right? They've never won in the playoffs, so you can look at them and pick on them for that and go, they suck. They never won in the playoffs. Or you could say, well, they had a 2-0 series lead on Washington. If not for some bad luck, they would have gone somewhere in the playoffs. But there's a dark cloud. And it's hard to get past it, isn't it? So Artemi Panarin has given them a deadline of September 13th. I want a contract in place by then, or I'm not talking about it for the rest of the season. I respect that. I don't have a problem with that. It's not blackmail. It's just a player saying, hey, I just want to play hockey. So if we can't work this out, I'm just going out and playing hockey, and the chips will fall where they may later. It's been clear he doesn't want to sign a long-term deal with Columbus. I think signing him to a 2 or 3 year extension is just fine, because there's a window to win here. That window, though, could remain open for a while. But there's another one, too. Bobrovsky. Now, I'm not completely circling Bobrovsky because it's not a distraction. But rumors are that he wants $11 million a year. That's not happening. I really can't see it happening. $11 million a year is a little much. I understand Carey Price at 10.5 might have driven up the market, but I also understand that teams that put a lot of money into their goaltending will struggle. That's very often the case. Dubois down the middle looks like a star, and Atkinson had a pretty solid second half to the season. So let's look at each position. Left side right now is Panarin, Jenner, Milano, Hannakainen. I've got Robinson on the board. NCAA signing. He played one game last year. Maybe he gets in there. Down the middle, you got Dubois, Wenberg, Foligno, Dubinsky, Sedlak, and Test. I got Texier on there, even though he likely doesn't play. Sedlak likely gets into the lineup. Maybe ahead of Hannakainen. We'll see what happens there. Down the middle, they're solid. Now that Dubois has become a number one center in the league, they're pretty solid down the middle. Left side isn't bad either. If Milano ever takes that next step as a scorer, they're in pretty good shape. Right side, Atkinson, Anderson, Bjorkstrand. Riley Nash is listed on the right side. Nash, though, I've got to tell you as a Bruins fan, can play anywhere. Wherever you need him, he can play. And then, of course, Duclair came in the offseason with the idea that he'd push for a spot. He may be that 13th forward. He may be up in the press box for 40, 50 games. However many he gets into, we'll see. But it's a pretty solid forward group, not spectacular. This is a division where they're going to be up against Ovechkin in Washington. They're going to be up against Crosby and Malkin down the middle in Pittsburgh. It's a tough division when you're looking at scoring. Now, on the blue line, they're pretty solid in that they've got Werenski and Jones as the top two. Nunavara, I'm okay with. He's okay. Savard has turned out to be a pretty solid defenseman. Murray, I think if Murray could get back to where he was not that long ago, I think if Murray ended up being top four, I think you have a better shot at it, at actually doing something in the playoffs. And there's Harrington rounding things out. Now, watch Gabriel Carlson, because Gabriel Carlson could come in, take a sixth spot away from Harrington. Clendening is an interesting one as well. Signed as a free agent. He's a good number 7 guy. He's not a top 6 regular defenseman, but he can be a fill-in here and there. And Kukan is still showing up there on the list. We'll see how many, if any, games he gets into this year, what kind of upside he has. And in net, it's Bobrovsky, Korpisalo. Fantastic duo. But Korpisalo had an up and down year this past season, and they brought in Berube to be the number 3 guy. And I don't know that Berube's going to play. I think Berube's a guy that I remember a couple years ago when the Islanders didn't want to lose him on waivers, and I thought, what do they see that I don't? And I still don't. I still don't understand what was going on then that the Islanders had to carry 3 goaltenders. I really don't understand it. But on the Columbus side of things, the blue line is good. Their forwards are good. Their goaltending is good. And this is the thing. Columbus is good. Columbus this past season, good. The year before, pretty darn good. They finished with the most points they've ever had. The trick for Columbus is that trick that a lot of teams face. You go from being good to being great. Some never jump over that hump. and there's no way of telling when it's going to happen. This past spring, Washington did it. They did it during a season that they weren't favored to do it, where they didn't have a roster that looked as good on paper as some of the rosters that had failed before, and they did it despite the fact they had fewer points, and the team seemed to be in disarray going into the playoffs against Columbus. I am hesitant to say how good things are for Columbus over the Panarin issue. Because if they trade him, what do they get back? What are they asking for? Whoever they trade with would kind of have to do a deal with Panarin and get that contract signed before the trade, you would think, to make it work. But that is the key issue for them is Panarin, and in the back of their minds should be Bobrovsky as well. Because the biggest question mark with Bobrovsky is this guy just a great regular season goalie who's not going to be able to turn it up in the playoffs? And I've been talking about goalies lately, and I'll mention Chechmanek, who I covered from Philly in a video yesterday, is a good example of a guy who was great in the regular season, could be fantastic, and then in the playoffs it just didn't work. And is Bobrovsky that same guy? And if Bobrovsky is that guy, do you want to commit to a 5, 6, 7, 8-year contract on a guy for a lot of money who in the end could just be a flop in the playoffs? And so because of that, it does give me some pause with Columbus, and we'll see where they go this season. But let me know what you guys think. How good is it for Columbus? How solid is this team from top to bottom? And what's going to happen with them this year? Be interested to know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. Just tap it upon this video. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.